Apollo 69.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today's video is a little bit different. Obviously, as you guys can tell, I'm not doing a sit down in the studio. Usually when I do sit downs, I'm in my studio, but it's a mess. I don't feel like cleaning it just to film an 8-minute video or something like that. And obviously it's kind of, well, I mean, at the time, well, I mean, obviously, not really obviously for you guys, but at the time I'm filming this, it's about 7 p.m., so it's already dark outside. And so obviously can't film a normal automotive vlog. So today's video is just a little bit different, and it's stuff I just have planned for the Sport Trac here in the near future. It's kind of, the project's kind of in the downhill stretch right now. There's not really too much left I can do without, you know, paying large sums of money to do. And as a daily driver, I don't want to go overboard. That's my thing, is, you know, I don't want to go too crazy with it, you know. I just want to keep it reliable for right now, and I know that my truck hasn't had the greatest track record in terms of reliability, but that's something I'm looking to fix within the next few months with these with some upgrades and stuff coming soon. So these are just some of the things I had planned. There's not really going to be too much more performance upgrades following some of these. I mean, down the line there are some stuff I would like to do that I'll probably do once my future project is started. In the next couple of years, you know, I mean, I'm still gonna do stuff on the truck within the time here before I get the project car, but I'm just gonna say now, I don't think I'm gonna be doing anything absolutely expensive or crazy. You know, I'm not gonna go out and do like air ride, for example. That's why I chose to stay static and just do blocks and not go crazy low, is because I don't want to have to fork out, you know, $1,800 to $2,000 for air ride on a vehicle. It's not even worth $2,000 really anymore, so it's not really something I wanted to do. But anyway, we're gonna get into the stuff I actually plan on picking up. So the first thing is a tuner. Now the reason for this is multiple reasons behind this, and I didn't really want to talk about it too much, but we got kind of screwed over by the shop we bought my rims from. I didn't really want to bring up a lot of it, just out of respect for their company, but their staff told me that the wheel setup I have, if you don't know Sport Tracs, the XLS came with 16-inch rims, upgraded to 20s, so obviously this is a 4-inch gap in between the rim sizes. I was told the way they're having my tire setup, since they're not rubber band tires, so they called them, it would not affect my speedometer. My speedometer is now 4 miles an hour off, which is obviously showing they lied. The way I found this out, though, was I drove past a DOT sign. If you don't know what a DOT sign is, or what I mean by DOT sign, it's a sign that has the speed limit, and then underneath it, it's a digital readout of how fast you're going. And I drove by that. My speedometer was reading 25, but the sign was reading 21. So obviously, there's a little bit of a issue there with my speedometer, so I'm gonna get that dealt with as soon as I can with the tuner, of course. I don't know when that'll be. I'm hoping at the latest it'll be, you know, January, February next year when that'll happen. It'll be nice to have, and plus I'm gonna use it to kind of tune around some stuff and try to make my truck more efficient. As I've stated in the past, my gas mileage is crap, so it's like I'd like to get a bit of extra MPG out of it, because that's something that 4.0s are known for. Of course, 4.0s are known for having really bad fuel economy. Despite what some dealerships will advertise as them being good for gas, they're horrible on gas. As I touched on in the things I didn't know about my Sport Trac video I just released last week, the Sport Tracs did not really get good gas mileage, even for a mid-size. They were horrible on gas. So personally, it's just like, so the way I'm going to go about this, of course, is you know, they say getting a cold air intake helps with gas mileage. I have noticed the slightest like up in gas mileage. It hasn't been like totally noticeable. Like, I've noticed just a touch. Like, it's nothing crazy. And of course a tune would help out. Any car could use a tune, to be honest. I mean, tuning doesn't have to be restricted to just your performance cars. The tune, though, is really going to give this thing just a whole new lease on life. It's going to make it more efficient. It's going to give me some extra torque, maybe somewhat. I don't know really well I can do, but I'm hoping to pick up the Bama SCT tuner. Bama, actually, from research I've done, used to support the Sport Trac at one point. I don't know if they do now. That'd be, you know, a call I'd have to make after I get the tuner. to see if I can get hooked up on a tune of some sort to, maybe put 93 in it, give it a bit more extra bump, because as I've stated in the past, I want to upgrade the power out of the 4.0, but of course I want it to, be reliable still, and I don't want to do anything that'll kill the motor within 2 weeks, as mine is high mileage, as I've stated in previous videos. It's 221,000 miles. Obviously I'm going to run into issues there. It's with boosting in particular. There's so many different things that could happen with a boosted motor with high mileage. Most motors usually produce metal shavings in them when they hit high mileage, so it's something I just don't want to deal with. I don't want to deal with blowing a 4-liter up, and I've told my friends in the past, as much as they hate me saying it, that if the 4-liter blows, I want to drop a Windsor in it, the 5.0 302 Windsor. Older engine. It was a 2-valve V8, very similar to what was put in the Mustangs at the time period. Similar power. In fact, the NPI 4.6, according to Mustang Lifestyle, they had one in their 2-valve projects, and that was the NPI had 4.6, produced the exact same horsepower as a 302 Windsor, which was 215. So I know a lot of people are going to say, why would you want to put an engine that weighs twice as much and only produces 5 more horsepower? I mean, you got to think about it from 2 different aspects. Windsors are much easier to upgrade than a 4-liter. It's just, that's common sense. The 4.0, while it is a good engine to start with, it's not really good to build to have power. The problem with building a 4.0 for power is they aren't really boost friendly. You're going to run into a lot of, blown head gaskets, stuff like that. So, I mean, it is possible to get some good power out of 4 liters. I've seen in the past some sport tracks run in the high 600s with a turbo on the stock engine somehow, and it's probably not the greatest for it, but it got that much power, which is incredible. But the 302 Windsor has everything out there for it, superchargers, pro chargers, the list goes on. You can do so much to a 302 Windsor versus what you can do to a 4-liter. So that's just my logic and why I want to do a 302 swap if something were to happen to the 4-liter. So if nothing happens to the 4-liter, that's fine and dandy. I'll keep the 4.0 in it, it's no big deal. But if something happens to the 4.0, it'll definitely be a 302 swap coming in very soon. Either that or 4.6 4-valve. That's another idea I've tossed around. It'd be a much harder swap because no one's done it. That's the advantage with the 302 Windsor. It's a very common swap for sport tracks to undergo. A lot of people in the community have done them, so it's not something that's different. Not something that's unique. So it's pretty easy to do. In fact, really all I would need to do is buy a donor car. I could get a donor 97 Explorer V8, something like that, and pull the motor out and be fine and dandy, be ready to go. With that though, I wouldn't have plans for that car. I wouldn't be able to decide if I was going to keep that or not. I probably wouldn't. I'd probably sell it or part it out completely, do something with it to make some extra money to try to fund another project in the future. As I stated last night in the stream, if you didn't watch that, you should, where I picked up an Acura Integra. That's my possible future car that I want to pick up as a track racer, of course. That won't be for a couple years, however, so don't get your hopes on that. The Integra project won't happen for quite a while. I gotta find a place to store the vehicle, as I mean, a lot of people probably look at my house and say, you've got space, why don't you just store it there? Well, my neighborhood is stupid and they have regulations about that kind of stuff. You can't have but 4 cars in your driveway at one time if you live there. So I mean, we violate that all the time, obviously, because for Caffeine and Octane we usually have, well, actually we have about 4 in the driveway at one time, and whenever we go to Caffeine and Octane. So I mean, we're not really violating it, but it's a stupid rule, and with both my siblings gonna be driving in the next couple of years, we're gonna fill up the driveway fast. We already have 2 cars in the driveway now. If I bought another car, and my siblings got their cars when they turn 15, 16 years old, it will have 5 cars in the driveway, which will be violating the rules. So obviously we can't do that. So that's kind of the reasoning why I won't get a project car for a little while. Is because of that reason alone, is that I just need to find a place where I can do that. The next thing I can really bring up would be just general modifications that are not related to the tuner. So I of course want to fix my intake in case, I don't know if I've mentioned it in other videos, but my intake, my Spec D intake is not really the greatest. It does get the job done, has given me better cooling temperatures and stuff, and gives the intake noise, all that crap. But one thing I have noticed is that the air filter, while it does seal from the inside, it doesn't like to hold itself in. It's very peculiar, and like I said, what's funny is the intake was advertised to have instructions with it, but did not come with instructions at all. So I was kind of clueless on the installation. So that's part of the reason why Kason was there to help me with it, and eventually why it's like it is. And of course, I'm going to fix that. And originally, I was just going to buy a bigger filter, no big deal. But my dad, made it really hard for me to do that. He did not want me to buy another filter. He just wanted to fix it, so I didn't have to go spend extra money, which is nice. But we just have to find a weekend to do that. And of course, I've got some suspension work I need to do. That'll be a future video coming very soon. I've had this suspension component for well over a year. That I have never got installed. I literally got it around the same time I bought my taillights. They actually came before my taillights, and I never installed it. So they're sitting in a box in my closet, and I've never actually used it or installed it yet. So that's something I'm going to do. It's going to help the ride a lot, because it's just going to make my ride a little bit better, because my ride is a little harsh. And plus, I need to tear apart my steering rack sometime very soon, because I've had a power steering leak for the last few months. And no one can seem to figure out where it's coming from. Also, the lines look intact. So my last theory, after watching some older Adamson videos and seeing how he had issues with leaky steering racks, that may be my case. I may have a leaky steering rack, and I can, that's not cheap, but it'll, it's a problem that can be dealt with later. Basically, the last things I can really think of for mods is, all the lowering equipment. So I've had this truck, for a while now with some of the components I need to lower the vehicle. I've had the blocks, or what I like to call leaf spring spacers, for a little while now. I've had them since, I want to say, June maybe, or somewhere in that zone. Yeah, June, because I got them after I graduated high school. And of course, I've said the story a million times. The U-bolts didn't fit. I obviously ran into that issue. So that's one thing. And I need to get a hold of new shocks. My shocks already, the stock shocks on the truck, are already fried. They've been fried for a very long time, and I've just driven with them because I don't have $400 to burn on shocks. It's expensive to get shocks, and I'm gonna have to buy specialty shocks when I get lowered. So it's like I'll spend a lot to get just the normal traveling shocks for standard ride height, and then go out and pay another $200, $300 to get the lowering shocks that I need. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep, tearing apart the stock shocks until I can get a hold of the lowering shocks for when we drop the truck. Then the last thing I'm going to need are these camber alignment bolts. I can't remember if they're $8 or $80. It's one of the two. But it will keep my front wheels in balance. So, but basically, the method I'm choosing to do this, for the front end at least, is a reverse torsion twist. If you don't know what a torsion twist is, it's where most people would lift a truck or want to lift their trucks for nothing, because most trucks come at an angle when they're stock to even the load when it's got stuff in the back. But in my case, since I'm wanting to lower the truck and level it out that way, I'll have 3 inches out back, 2 inches up front, all that stuff I've already said a million times. But we'll be backing out the bolts, and you turn the bolts in to pick the front up, and you turn them out to back it, to lower it. So that'll be what we're doing with that. So obviously what's going to happen is that the torsion is going to knock my wheels into camber, which is not going to look very tasteful. I know a lot of people are into stance stuff. I'm personally not into stance vehicles, so that will not be staying very long. It'll literally be something that goes away immediately because it needs to get a little need an alignment. It already needs an alignment now. My steering wheel's off by just a touch, and it bothers me. So that's basically a lot of stuff I've got planned for just the immediate future. And of course, the last thing really planned is paint. And obviously I've mentioned in videos before that it will be going to paint. We'll be doing a whole video series on that, as there's a lot of rust on the truck that needs to be repaired. It's nothing major. I'm thankful for that. The entire underbody of the truck's perfect. It's dirty. It's very dirty. It's very greasy. But the rust is usually on the body where the blue is, the paint. So that's obviously where we're going to be dealing with that. We're going to be using methods used in Chris Fix's rust repair video to fix that. That'll be a whole video series on its own. I don't really have to say much more than repairing all the rust and filling in some of the damage. We will be removing the dent finally in the tailgate. I know that's probably bothered a lot of you guys, and that's usually why I don't film anything from the back of my truck, is the giant dent in the tailgate. And that will be finally resolved, thankfully. And then we will be doing some other work on the interior as well. That'll be the last thing I'll touch up on for this video. Is the interior will be going a complete refresh, hopefully within the next year or two. My parents have talked about kind of converting my stock seats into more of a heavy bolstered, not racing style, but kind of racing seat kind of a feel. You know, bigger bolsters on the side, because I know I look fatter on camera than I actually am, but my seat, I actually do this in my seat a lot when I'm turning, and I don't like it, and I don't fit well in my seats. So my parents were talking about, as a gift for me, I guess, of some sort, alongside the paint, getting my entire interior ripped apart and refreshed from the floor. They were wanting to do carpeting floor, because while the rubber floor is very nice to keep clean, it's not really the kind of look I want, and that was their idea mainly. I didn't really care either way. I mean, I like carpet because it's soft, but at the same time, rubber is just so nice to clean up. All the seats will be taken out. They'll all be refreshed. I originally planned on buying racing seats, but finding brackets that will work with the racing seats are impossible. So that's not going to happen, obviously. As much as I really wanted to. I really wanted racing seats, but it'll be impossible for me to find seats that fit me properly, because I'm the type, I like everything perfect. So I don't, like, if I ever did for some odd reason put harness belts in, I wouldn't want them to sit, you know, kind of slacked on my shoulder. I want everything to be perfect. And me being kind of short, it's really hard for me to find seats that fit me. So but yeah, that's basically everything I've got planned for the truck in the near future. Basically just getting the tune, going nuts on the lowering stuff, getting all that done, getting the paint done, getting all the damage filled up. I may also do some windshield repair videos as well, because my windshield's cracked, or not cracked, but chipped in a few places. And do some other little stuff here and there with it. Of course, my suspension work I gotta do very soon. But yeah, basically that's it. That's all I got for this video. Thank you guys again for watching. I know this was kind of an odd video since I'm filming it on my webcam versus on my iPhone. I mean, you guys can obviously tell. I'm pretty sure the audio to what you see on screen is probably a bit delayed, because this webcam isn't the greatest. But yeah, that's really all I've got for this video. So if you haven't already, subscribe if you're new. I'll be uploading more stuff very soon. I know I didn't have a gaming video for this week, but as I stated in a video I deleted, my computer is having issues. So gaming videos are kind of on a hiatus right now. Videos in general have just been difficult to work with this week. So hopefully now that I seem to have gotten it resolved, I've got everything working again. Obviously with Tuesday's video. Everything seems to be working again. So anyway, that'll do it for me. This has been a long video. See you guys next time.
We don't want drama, we just want commas. My team tryna eat, I'm thinking Benihana. Love or hate me, all that shit just made me stronger. We the new school, it's the alma mater. We don't want drama, we don't want drama. We just want the commas, we just want the commas.